Hello guys and welcome to another MK Mobile video. Guys, you requested this, so I deliver. Basically, the best feature of the update is that currently and finally we can preset our talent sets and then select the one that we want. So I decided to walk you through, in my opinion, the best talent sets. Depending on the situation, they're best overall. For instance, we have talent set for special 1, we have a talent set for special 2. I have additional for Reigns because they have a little bit of let's say difference compared to other characters, but we're going to get to that later. We have a damage over time and we have defensive. So let's start with defensive build. Basically, I won't go for all like talents, but I will go for the key ones. For defensive build, guys, you don't require a lot of offense because after all we're doing a defensive build, but I always put some points in precision. Precision is a really useful talent unless you're playing certain characters, but we're going to get to that later. When it comes to the defense, we have Bear Stance. This is the reason why I call this a defensive talent tree with hit points, because it is up to you whether to go for Bear Stance or to Hawk Stance. They're both good. They all have their ups and downs. For instance, every time when I'm playing survival mode, I prefer Bear Stance. Every time when I'm playing boss battle, I prefer Hawk Stance. You got the idea, right? So you need to have both of them. Apart from this difference, they're all the same. Intimidating Presence, one of the best talents in the game. 25% unblockable attack chance reduction, really useful. Centaurian Defense, it is situational, but trust me, it can turn the tide in a lot of situations. In this particular tier, if you want, you can also go for block special attacks reduction, but I prefer the Centaurian Defense because after all, the special attack once blocked is not really that dangerous. However, if you decide to go for Shock and Dominance, I reckon it's better to use it against bosses because you have better chance to survive if you block the damage of the special attack. OAA Tech, pretty good talent that reduces the power drain from your characters. We have Red Dragon training talent for additional stun and power drain resistance, and of course the two key talents. Revenant, you all know what Revenant does, and Shinnok's teaching, the so-called Bone Shield. In support, I just have the Spec Ops Tactics. It's a very useful talent. Every time when you tag in and out characters, you're going to get power generation boost, and that is always useful, guys. And we have the Combat Veteran, and because why not? Every single character has toughness, and the higher toughness you get, the better this talent gets. But even if you don't invest any toughness, still it will reduce some critical damage that you get, and in general I reckon it's a very useful talent to have if you want to go full defense. Now, the next talent preset that I have is the same, with the only difference that instead of Bear Stance, I have Hawk Stance. This is the only difference. You see, I have the Hawk Stance. That's resistance to the boss. So if I want to go full defense and I want to fight bosses, then probably I'm going to use a talent set that relies on Hawk Stance. If I want to go in survival mode, probably I will go for Bear Stance. In my opinion, Bear Stance works better in survival. Now let's go for the next one. It's a damage over time. This is really important talent set because you'll be using it not that often, but when you use it, it will be really useful. I'm talking about towers when you're fighting against some annoying, let's say, regeneration or enraged battles against assassin team. You know how difficult that is. And if you use the real deal team, if you don't know what the real deal team, it is MK11 Scorpion, Ravenous Melina and Assassin Scarlet. If you don't have this team but use any other team that has dots, then you have to use this talent set. Mostly for the Crew of Fiction talent, that's the bread and butter. 20% fire, poison, bleed, dot damage boost. It is really good. Everything else, Stranglehold for additional basic attack damage, and we have the Exposure Weakness for additional special attack damage. Bear Stance for some health, because if you're playing dots, all you have to do is to survive. You have to stay alive so that you can inflict as many dots as possible. So basically, this is the core of this talent set. You won't be using it that often, but sometimes it can literally save your life in the game. And then we have Rain Special 1. Let me explain to you why it's called Rain Special 1. Obviously, because I'll be using it on Rain, but in general, this is talent set is for characters that don't really rely on combo enders. Let's take a look at Classic Rain, for instance. If he does a combo ender and he decides to do Special 1 immediately after this combo ender, the enemy will block. So in a way, a combo ender can be not really that great, unless I want to Team Soak, which is really chance based. 20% chance to soak actually, or Team Soak, depending on what items you have. So every time when I play Rain, I want to spam Special 1. I don't want to really rely that much on Team Soak, then I will go for the Gambler. It will increase the damage of my special one by increasing the bonus of the minigame. That's really awesome. Now let's talk about why I don't have rapid response. After all, we're talking about special one, right? I have to boost the damage. Rapid response boosts only the damage based on the minimum damage of the ability. Now imagine that you have an ability that deals 10 to 100 damage, and then you do 100% of the minigame. In a real scenario, if you don't crit on something, you have to do 100 damage. So if the rapid response is giving you 30% damage boost, you say, okay, with that talent, then I'll be doing 130 damage. Actually, this is not the case. The 30% damage boost is applied only on the minimum damage. So you won't be doing 130 damage, you'll be doing 103 damage. So that's not really that impressive. What I would like to do is instead to increase my critical hit chance. I'm not saying that the rapid response is a horrible talent. In certain situations it can work, but I prefer to have the increased critical hit chance. So that, I mean, one critical hit, in my opinion, will be much better than, let's say, doing two special ones that have some crazy nothing increase to the damage. And considering the fact that Rain has one of the lowest damage of special one, definitely for Rain, the additional critical hit chance is much better. And I have the Lightning Blow. That's extremely good for Rain because you can cripple the enemy, thus you can get stuck on your passive. But you can copy this talent set for almost any character that relies on special one, and you have noticed that it's not really great doing combo enders. For instance, you can apply it for Aftershock Tremor now, because once you stun the enemy and lock him in a stun lock, then you don't require block breakers. You don't require combo enders, I'm sorry. On the contrary, the combo ender can actually break your synergy, so you don't have to use combo enders. Therefore, you don't require the precision skill. This is my Rain Special 1. Now Rain Special 2, I'm not going to get into details. I have a specific talent set for Ronin Kitana. There isn't a big secret here. I have Ghost Armor. If you take critical damage, you gain 50% of that damage as power. And I want to get critical damage because I also have the talent that I showed you in the beginning, which is the Combat Veteran. That basically reduces the critical hit damage once I have toughness. The more toughness I have, the less critical damage I get, and that's a really useful talent on Ronin Kitana. A lot of you were complaining before this update that Ronin Kitana requires specific talent set. Now guys, you cannot go anywhere. You have to apply this talent set, use it in Ronin Kitana, and check how great she is. She is literally a rock solid. Unstoppable force, immovable object, let's go that way. Anyways, so this is especially for her. Every time when I'm playing Ronin Kitana, for instance, in a Ronin team, this also works pretty good for a Ronin team because they already has the damage. The Ronin characters, they don't need more damage, they already have the damage. All they need is a way to survive. That's their main weakness. They cannot survive, they don't have shields, they cannot evade special attack, stuff like this, so they have to survive. So a defensive talent set is really good for them. Now let's go to the Special 1 talent set. Here, it is almost the same as Classic Rain, but presumably I want to use characters that rely on combo enders, such as MK11 Scorpion, such as Johnny Cage, and so on. So I have the Precision. Precision talent is really good. And again, I prefer the critical hit chance compared to a Rapid Response. If you go for the Rapid Response, it won't be a huge problem, but definitely in my opinion the Black Dragon training is overall better. I have the Shiryu teaching for critical hits, gain more power. Again, the Lightning Blow, it is a must. Again, bear stance. If I'm facing bosses, probably I will recreate the same thing, but I will use Hawk stance instead. And I have meditation, that is really useful if you're doing Special 1, and I have the Outward Scorch. That's really useful if you're doing Special 1 because it gives you a chance to do Special 1 without any power wasted, and that's pretty cool. Basically, if you're relying heavily on Special 1, then you have to do that. Yeah, let's go for the Special 2. Now, for Special 2, I have Precision again. Like always, you need Precision, Link Weight to Torage, 22% critical hit chance, critical damage, I'm sorry, 17% critical hit chance, and this time I have the 26% special to damage boost because it will give actually more damage. Remember guys, it is based on the minimum damage, and we can agree that the minimum damage of Special 2 is always much higher than the minimum damage of Special 1, so in a way, this will make sure that your Special 2 is really forced to be reckoned with. No more points invested here. Probably I have to make another talent set that relies on killing bosses, and in order to do so I have to enable either Death Mark technique or brutal ending. So that's the only thing that I haven't created yet, but probably I will. It's going to be a hybrid build, but you need to have one of those two things, so you have to remember that. But for now I haven't done that because the Fatal Tower is way in the future. For defense I have Bear Stance. Against for health, in the general case I prefer Bear Stance. Once again, if you're fighting bosses, then the Hawk Stance is the way to go, and Intimidating Presence, probably the best talent here in the second tier. And in the support section we have Teamwork, we have Conditioning, that reduces the power cost of Special 2, and we have the Dinner Champion, 10% chance to do Special 2 to cost no power. Sometimes it can save your life, trust me. But if you're doing boss fights, then I wouldn't recommend this talent. I would invest points into doing brutalities or basically death marks. This is going to be really helpful against bosses. So if I have to basically summarize everything, I have one special one for the win. It's a little bit situational, but in a way it basically copies the same patterns that I already showed you guys, with a few exceptions, but we're going to get later. The general case is these are the talents that you need: a talent for Special 1, a talent for basically characters that mainly rely on Special 2, a team that relies on Special 2, a defensive talent for teams like the Ronin team. The only talent set that I missed, actually, we also have the DOT talent set that relies on teams that do a lot of dots, and the only talent set that I couldn't show you is the one for bosses. But once again, if you want to do talent set for bosses, you have to make sure that you have either the brutal ending on or the Death Mark technique on. Basically, that's the only difference. Alright guys, I really hope you found this video useful. See you next time. Take care.
Perfect.